And thank God it's Friday. My name is Anthony Jackson. Let's do some news for this morning. National Labour Commission directs members of Coalition of Concerned Teachers to call off strike, describing it as illegal. Parliament approves appointment of Kojo Opon Nkrumah and 5 others as substantive and deputy ministers. Bank of Ghana announces new set of directives to guide the operations of forex bureaus. Ethiopia swears in first female Supreme Court chief. Okay, we're live on DSTV channel 279. So, very first story. Teaching and learning has halted at Esresu DA Primary School in the Ashanti region as members of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT, carried through an industrial strike. Now, the National Labour Commission has called on members of the coalition to call off its strike or risk their salaries being withheld. The coalition, which declared a strike from November 1, wants issues on salary arrears and a refund of deductions for SICGES life insurance policy, which they claim was imposed on members.
National Labour Commission expressed surprise at the strike by aggrieved members of Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT Ghana. According to the Commission, it received a petition from the coalition on their grievances and had requested the Finance, Education and Labour Ministries to explain how the issues would be addressed, only to hear of their strike.
I listened to the press conference saying that they wrote to the ministry, wrote to Labour Commission, and nobody responded. And that is not true. Why will concerned teachers go on strike? And in their own letter, they say that we are going on strike, but we doubt whether NAT or NAGRAT will join us. Doesn't it defeat their reason already?
The Executive Secretary directed Coalition to call off a strike or risk their salaries being withheld.
When you declare a strike, right, past negotiation, it is illegal because the law frowns on it. And within the period during which you stay home or away from work, you should not be paid. The unions that declared a strike should be able to pay its members for engaging in an illegality.
Again, the Commission expressed concern about the strike by lecturers in colleges of education who are demanding payment of market premium and other benefits after the colleges were converted into tertiary institutions.
They should be calling it off by now. And they should address urgent matters. They should look at most of their colleagues who go on pension. You teach and work, not teachers alone. You work for about 40 years, assuming you entered at 20 years. People go home, they still have to go and live in family houses. People don't have a place, especially in government. Look at this tier 2 we are paying. Yes. How many of them know who manages their funds?
The Commission is to convene an emergency meeting on Friday, November 2, to address the issues. It is hopeful the grievances of the two unions would be resolved by close of next week.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has announced a new set of directives for forex bureaus in the country. The move is part of measures to enforce compliance of forex bureau regulations.
Argues that it will deal with any individual found engaging unlicensed operators. Any forex bureau that fails to comply would also be sanctioned, face suspension and revocation of license. The directives are as follows. All purchases and sales of forex must be captured electronically and receipts issued accordingly by licensed forex bureaus. All customers must provide valid national identification or other valid personal ID such as voter's ID, passport, or driver's license when engaging in forex transactions with forex bureaus. All licensed forex bureaus must submit the required monthly returns electronically to the Bank of Ghana within 5 working days after the end of the month. All licensed forex bureaus must complete and submit a license renewal questionnaire 2 months before the expiration of the current license. The questionnaire must be submitted together with the following attachments: copy of tax clearance certificate, a copy of insurance certificate, extract of audited accounts, bank statements, proof of filing of annual returns at the Registrar General's Department. All licensed forex bureaus must comply with the provisions of the Data Protection Act 2012, Act 843, and must register with the Data Protection Commission of the Ministry of Communications as a key requirement for annual license renewal. The Bank of Ghana, in the circular issued and signed by its secretary, said that any person found transacting business with an unlicensed forex bureau or illegal forex dealer shall be dealt with in accordance with the laws of Ghana. Failure to comply with this notice shall attract penalties, including pecuniary sanctions, suspension and revocation of license in accordance with the Forex Exchange Act 2006, Act 723.
In a related development, economist with Data Bank Courage Marte has lauded the central bank for its directive demanding forex operators to demand a valid national identification of customers before engaging in any forex transaction. A source at the central bank said regulations are not new and that the regulator is only enforcing an existing regulation.
Economist with Data Bank Courage Marte says the directive by the central bank is long overdue, as the Ghanaian forex market had been too liberal.
By getting your ID, by ensuring that the reporting framework is followed, we can know the volume of foreign currency that you trade on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then we know who is trading what. Then we can also know which sectors of the economy are buying what. And then we also determine whether the pricing that you are giving is in line with the expected trend or path of the foreign exchange.
He said the forex market holds such systemic risk to the economy and requires significant regulation.
That during periods of depreciation, the pace of depreciation tends to be faster in the other parts of the foreign exchange markets, like the Forex Bureau and the black market. So you want a situation where there will be no significant divergence between the benchmark interbank exchange rates and what pertains on the parallel market.
The directive also requires all licensed forex bureaus to submit monthly returns electronically to the Bank of Ghana within 5 days after the end of each month.
This reporting framework gives full information to the regulator. Without this reporting, then there's likely to be significant levels of asymmetric information. And where there is information asymmetry, the players on the market have more information about market trends than the regulator. Then they are able to bypass the regulatory framework. And this is what you want to avoid.
Now, the Ministry of Finance intends to extend the excise tax stamp policy to the textile industry. The move is intended to deal with the influx of pirated textiles onto the Ghanaian market, as well as raking more revenue.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, as part of its Ghana on the Go CEOs breakfast meeting, hosted CEOs and business leaders to discuss the implementation of the tax stamp policy. The tax stamp policy came into force on March 1, 2018, after several weeks of stakeholder engagement. A task force from the Ghana Revenue Authority has embarked on inspections of factories and retailing shops to ensure compliance.
If the tax has not been paid, you don't take the goods out. The proof of payment in this case is the excise tax stamp. So if I say don't take it out, I have every right to do so. Naming and shaming has been provided for in the Revenue Administration Act, that we can publish offenders, what they did, the amounts involved and everything in the papers. So let's know that these are tracks that we are going to go on. A lot of things are taken for granted when it comes to our country, but we are the ones going to build our country. It's the revenue that we generate that we are going to use to build our country.
The CEO of the Association of Ghana Industry maintained its implementation has shot up the cost of production of its members.
The principle is that we agree it is important, let's do it. But we'll have to try it first. So as we try, we will assess the impact and see whether the extent to which it is reducing efficiency in the production line. If it is okay, then we move on with it. If it is not okay, the challenges that we throw up, we'll discuss with the policy makers, we'll discuss with GRA, and then we'll see how we resolve it.
Head of Tax Policy at the Ministry of Finance,
indicated the ministry would soon extend the policy to the textile industry.
In the law and the textile industry, they are pushing for it. They want to join. And so we are looking at the possibility of extending the policy to cover textiles and any other products. So it's an open-ended, and there's a provision to extend it to cover other commodities.
Let's head over to Parliament, where the House has approved by consensus the appointment of Kwadwo Oppong Nkrumah as Information Minister. The legislatures also approved 5 others as substantive ministers and deputy ministers following the presentation of the report by the Appointments Committee on Thursday.
The 5 are the Minister-Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Cynthia Morrison, Minister-Designate for the Upper East Region, Paulina Tangaba Abayage. The rest are Evans Opoku Bobie, Minister-Designate for the Brong-Ahafo region, with Martin Oti Jako as his deputy, Samuel Nuete Ayete, Deputy Minister-Designate for the Eastern region. Both the majority and minority expressed confidence in the ability of the nominees, adding they had the competence and experience to deliver. Though the approval was by consensus, it was not without a debate. A legal tussle ensued between the majority and minority regarding the nomination of Martin Otijako. The minority leader, Haruna Idrusu, argued that per Article 256 and Article 79, the President is mandated to consult the substantive regional minister before nominating him. However, while Martin Otijako was being nominated, there was no substantive minister for the region, as the substantive minister, Kweku Asumacheme, had been moved to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources.
How could the President consult a non-existent substantive minister for Brong-Ahafo in order to have a deputy to that substantive minister? The matter, per my understanding, is whether the President may want to have deputy ministers or not. But the consultation is about chemistry, whether the minister will gel with the deputy.
But Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu disagreed and indicated that the President acted within the ambit of the Constitution.
In essence, the President is not under any obligation to appoint a deputy minister or deputy ministers for any region. He may elect to do it or not to do it. That is the essence of the word may.
In his ruling, the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Mike Okwe, said the use of shall was always mandatory, while the use of may was permissible.
The substantive is amenable to work with the proposed deputy and all such matters. And that is why that cannot be a mandatory matter, but discretionary.
The RTI bill was not considered by Parliament on Thursday.
Well, let's do some sports stories. Now, the Deputy Attorney General, Joseph Pemka, has disclosed that the CID has completed investigations on former GFA boss Kwesi Nyantakyi and will present the docket to the Attorney General for advice and prosecution. Joseph Pemka further indicated government will take legal action against the former FA boss based on the outcome of review of the docket.
World Football Governing Body FIFA handed former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, a lifetime ban from all football-related activities on Tuesday, October 30, a punishment he has described as harsh and served notice of appealing. FIFA's decision to ban the former FA boss after months of rigorous investigations ignited the discourse on whether the country had an interest and will to prosecute him. It also led to many calling on the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, to update Ghanaians on the status of their investigations. But reacting to the concerns raised, Deputy Attorney General Joseph Pemka insisted the civil action by FIFA cannot be compared to the action about to be taken by government.
It's the fact that the CID did the investigation of the case. They have gathered their evidence, the facts, and the necessary documentation, and they are forwarding the docket to us sometime today or tomorrow. So all this while, I can tell you that there was no documentary evidence of whatever form from the investigative body to our office for us to be able to look at whether or not we will prosecute.
He assured all the appropriate thing will be done.
Government has never ever shirked its responsibility. When we receive the file, we will review it with a legal eye And of course, we are not reviewing it to satisfy public anger, but we are reviewing it to satisfy our constitutional mandate. Because we are not going to engage in persecutorial missions. We're going to engage in prosecutorial mission.
Meanwhile, Parliament has summoned officials of the FIFA Normalization Committee over the recent impasse at the Ghana Football Association, GFA. Officials of the committee are expected to appear before the House on Tuesday, November 6th, to brief the legislators on the way forward for football in the country.
Well, this is some international news where human rights lawyer Miza Ashnafi was sworn in Thursday as the head of Ethiopia's Supreme Court by the country's parliament in a wave of appointments for women in top appointment positions. Prime Minister nominated her, the country's chief of staff announced. The Ethiopian leader has pushed for more female representation in his cabinet. That's it for news for this morning. New Day returns shortly after the break.
It's Johnny Hughes. Good morning and thank you for joining us. Now, we're Friday, so we take a cool, light and slow acoustic music starting us off, and then we'll zoom into Daily Rant and perhaps get into our news paper headlines, the news review segment. We'll talk about GMB a bit, and then Amma will host a controversial counsel and one other on Hard Bay. We're talking about DNA tests. Doctor, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Johnny. I'm doing very well. I'm happy because it's Friday and we get to at least take some 2 days rest before we come back to this business of waking up early in the morning to bring breakfast, to our viewers out there. Good morning to the whole of Ghana. Certainly, we are grateful that you keep staying with us and you don't change the station. Johnny, I must say, we have a lot of fans because yesterday I met about 5 patients who all said, we wake up just to catch, breakfast with you on New Day. And I said, oh my goodness, I must let Johnny and the team know that people out there appreciate what we do. Yes, but Johnny, honestly, because I asked myself, if I wasn't doing this work, would I wake up at that time to watch TV? But anyway, thank you guys. We appreciate the love coming from you.
You'll be waking up like that very soon.
What are you trying to say?
No, it's okay. But I dreamt about you yesterday.
And you told me, but I've told you to go back and sleep so that you can re-dream. Because me giving you money, I mean, it's not like a bad thing, but as of now, I need the money. So you'd have to, re-dream and remember giving it back to me.
I choose my dreams.
Please,
if I dream about you giving me money, you should make it real. Make it happen.
Please, no. Listen, I have to, talk to your wife to make sure she gets you to sleep well at a good place. Exactly where you slept yesterday to re-dream that dream because it's not good for me.
You've been having too many conversations with Nancy and Coco, so it's disturbing you.
But the last time, it's good. At least we've moved from, where we used to wash your clothes to now giving you money. Because it means our status has changed.
Somebody else is washing it, somebody's cooking, but if you have money and you are dashing, because
Mrs. Hughes, good morning to you out there.
You were driving out. You were driving out. The security guy was signaling you. He just looked into your purse and you picked up a whole bunk and you just give it to me, foreign currency. I was like, wow, Amma, yeah, man.
So you woke up, were you holding money?
Oh, well, I didn't check my bank account, but I'm sure.
Then please go and check. I think I deposited it in there. Yeah. Maybe your mobile money number. Yeah. Certainly.
But God bless you. God bless you for
God bless you too. I hope you send it back to me in the dream.
Of course, our WhatsApp line is 020-21-66633. That's 020-21-66633. Join us on our WhatsApp. And today we'd like to make it very light and fun. So if you got some funny photos as well, something that's happening around you, share with us. We'll be happy to. I've seen a few memes about Kwesi Nyantakyi and interesting. Ghanaians can tease.
Oh, we can.
Twitter has no chill.
Yep. Johnny, but in where everyone seems to be stressed, I think it's a good way to release some tension. But sometimes, of course, you need to consider what the other person you're laughing about is going through. And again, there are people who can give out jokes, they dish it out, but they can't take it themselves. And so I really hope that as we're giving out those jokes, we all, if we were in that position and we're teased about it, we wouldn't be upset. But Johnny, I have a worrying thing that I think I want to talk about today, blood transfusion. And the fact that many of us Ghanaians are averse to it. See, if you haven't gone to the professional to get checked, stop that excuse of, I can't give blood, I don't have blood. If you haven't checked, how do you even know? And I think it's just the idea of, the fear of what people have gone through and what people have had. What our ideas are about it, but it's not the truth. Many of them out there are myths. If you've got someone who doesn't eat well before coming to donate, I mean, they are bound to have some dizziness or some wooziness, but that doesn't mean that everyone is going to face that same challenge when it comes to transfusion. Now in Greater Accra, we've realized most women are dying because of hemorrhage, which is bleeding after delivery. And we're saying, in order to curb this, let's make sure that anyone who wants to come and deliver has blood sitting somewhere ready for you, supposing you are bleeding. We don't want a situation where, in that emergency situation, we're looking for blood. Probably your blood type is not available, and so it's going to be difficult. But imagine if everyone is giving into the pool, then we'll get to a point where we have so much blood, we may even actually be giving some off, and we'll be saving lives. At the end of the day, it's about altruism. And I think in Ghana, we don't have that. I'm thinking, why should I give to you? What would I get in return?
Absolutely.
But we need to move away from that. I asked the man to come and donate for his wife, and the excuses they give. And
his
I
wife?
said to him, yes, his own wife, who he impregnated. And I was very disheartened, because if you wouldn't do it for her, excuse me, then who are you expecting to come and do it for her?
Maybe he didn't do it, so he wants to go for a DNA test.
Oh, he certainly did. But we'll talk about the
Maybe
DNA.
he wants to go for a DNA
no,
test.
but we need to talk about it. I think that general conversation needs to be had.
I think at a point as Ghanaians, we lost our communal spirit.
We did.
The communal spirit where you could be corrected by another person other than your parents. Not your uncle, not your auntie, somebody who meets you on the street and thinks that you're misbehaving could call you to order. We seem to have lost it. Look, growing up, we used to wake up early to go to school, to go and sweep, arrange our desks, clean it, and then sit in it. When we're done with school, we swept and then we rearranged it for the next morning. Today, children don't do that anymore. They walk in there. Some cleaners come to, who's come to do everything, and then they go and sit down. They mess up the class, and then they leave. And so it's become a certain culture where people think that, oh, there's somebody there who has to do it.
Fix it.
Not me. Not me.
But if we don't start inculcating that spirit in our children, then we're producing, a generation that we will be disappointed in. But we would have created that mess. Because if you don't teach them, how will they learn?
Because the truth is, book sense alone no be sense.
No.
Anyway.
You need the home sense as
Headlines ready for us. Let's check it out. Daily Graphic starts us off. Royalty is here. Prince Charles, Camilla arrive today. They are in town. I'll be looking for a few pounds, if you ask me. Avoid KNUST crisis. University of Ghana UG tells lecturers. VC tells lecturers, and Parliament approves upon Nkrumah 4 others. There yesterday happened. Political vigilantes in police can't act. Laws on appointments need reforms. ACP Dr. Agbojo says so, that the police cannot act if you have not situated it in the law. Daily Guide, 6 ministers approved, and education is our best bet. Nana Akufo-Addo says so. And government rubbishes NDC's corruption tag against president. Stadium contract scandal hits NDC. 1.6 million missing, and comes with a photo of the MP for Dodo Diodo and the former Minister for Youth and Sports, Edwin Nilante van der Poy. There. The Ghanaian Times, HIV infection rate shoots up. Oh ho. AGI raises red flag over tax stamp, and CID completes investigation on Kwesi Nyantakyi, AG to receive docket. Must mold character, or education must mold character. That's what the president says. That was just what we were talking about a few seconds ago. Education is not just to pass your exam, it's to mold your character. The Finder newspaper, holistic education is a must. It should be anchored on ethics, morals, and principles, according to President Akufo-Addo. Goods found without tax stamp will be seized and destroyed. Yanchera. And Ghana secures $60 million IDA credit to create jobs for the poor. FIFA relied on government information to ban Nyantakyi. Government says so. If it did, why is the AG pussyfooting, so to speak? The Daily Statement. Parliament approves upon Nkrumah 5 other ministers. Business leaders propose 10% levy on tithes. KPMG 2019 pre-budget survey. Okay, we'll be tightening the tax. Okay, state triggered Nyantakyi's FIFA ban. Okay, that's what we're learning now. So if the state did it, what's the Attorney General talking about receiving docket? Anyway, shifting your position on borrowing, Mahama to NPP, that's the Independent newspaper. And tax stamp is not additional tax, according to the Ghana Revenue Authority. The Gold Street business, I beg your pardon. Bank of Ghana renews fight against black market, KYC to be enforced. Fund managers move to close down guaranteed schemes. Okay, here we go. That's it. And I've seen another, is it diamond dealership flyer making the rounds, also promising some, is it 13% at the end of every month? Yes, I've seen it. I think I deleted it or so. Well, but it was circulating. And I was thinking, wow, we're yet to defrost from this ice. And somebody comes up with diamond. Apparently, we're told that he's been operating for donkey years. So, in Ghana we did.
Anyway, it's interesting. But you know, President was talking about education. And I think, I'm hoping we get to a point where we take away politics when it comes to education. And we're so concerned about the generations we want to, you know, raise. Because education is pivotal in every society and it shapes people's minds and people's character, as the president has said. I'm wondering how people would move away from looking at politics as a money-making venture to actually change, you know, a platform to cause change. Because now the people we see entering politics are doing so because I think some part of the education has failed them. In the sense that they weren't taught the reasons, the right reasons to be in politics, where it is to be, you know, a change agent. And I think all these things are taught in school. Aside school, like you said, you know, the environment shapes you as well. So education is not only what we sit down, the formal kind of education. You go, your teacher imparts some knowledge, you write, you take notes, you write exam for it, and that ends it. But the things that you see going on around, just like how some of us will not be brought up in a particular family or setting, but because you see other people do things that you like, you emulate them. You learn it. That is informal education. You're learning something because you see the good it can bring about and you want that. And so you take it on. But if you go to school, you learn, you have all the book knowledge, but you can't even apply it. You can't apply it to other things around you to make any sense out of it and create change. And I think we're failing. And that is what we see churning out from schools. Because if you have university students who would riot or demonstrate peacefully, well, of course they have good intentions, but eventually if you don't take the right, you know, route and it becomes unpeaceful, it becomes a riot, and then you've got your schools closing down, you've got your education being halted, then certainly something has gone wrong in that education chain. You either fail to recognize that you owe, you know, a responsibility to citizens to make sure that you don't destroy property in executing anything that you want to channel a cause for. And so if in doing that you spoil property, I fail to recognize how you're doing the right thing. Two wrongs will not make it right. And all these things come up when you're educated properly.
It will not. Look, I will go back to mentioning Kwesi Amoak's book on Justice V.C. Arisi Crab, and it's a very good read. I would advertise it to anybody to go and grab a copy and read. In that book, Justice Crab said, having a certificate or a degree is evidence that you pass an exam.
That's it.
But that doesn't qualify you for life.
Right.
What qualifies you for life are the real values. And he was making an assertion of the current parliamentarians, I mean from 1992 if you will, the quality of the debates that keeps dwindling. And this was Justice Crab's work, the quality of the debates in Parliament that keeps dwindling. And the seeming focus on what to get when people get into politics. And he said, look, in the pre-colonial times, the likes of Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Professor Buzia, they were having very rich debates in Parliament, but they were not paid. They didn't receive a dime. Today, we pay people to do work, and they don't even do it. We pay people to monitor and evaluate, you know, people in public offices, and they don't even do it. You have a circuit supervisor who's never been to a circuit for donkey years, and he tells you he doesn't have a motorbike to go around. They don't even do it. People don't do it. Everybody is just making excuses and telling us, and we expect to make progress. How do we make progress? So we say that, oh, our educational system is widening, access, reach and spread is happening, and people are going to school, we are doing free SHS and all of that. But the people get their first degrees and they come home, and you can't even have a conversation with them because they don't understand. All they know is that they could quote you Ohm's law and Newton's law. They could quote all the laws and solve all the equations, but if you bring them into real life, they can't function. That's not education. That is not education. Where is the pedagogical approach, and what does it impact on the people? I've been thinking. Yesterday I was having a conversation. I said, look, we've been talking about this sanitation thing for a long time,
Now, every time we talk about it, we're either targeting some minister, some MP, some assemblyman. We're either talking about some adults getting plastic bins and all of that. Have we involved the children in the conversation for sanitation? Because there's something called Chinese aphorism. If your child sees you dropping something, they will drop it. If your child thinks that it is not, right to do it because you don't engage in it, they won't do it. But once we do it, they will do it. How do we bring them along? How do we bring them along? We used to study cultural studies, social studies, life skills in school. Where are they?
It seems to have vanished.
From our curriculum, where are they? Religious and moral education, where are they? So, our educational system needs to be reworked. We need to look at it again.
And as they're reworking it, they need to look at the morals and the ethics on the ground, because children are being churned out who have no morals
they don't
at
have
all.
It.
And so, we're modernizing, that's fine. But behind the modernization, we need to teach our cultural values. Johnny, I was brought up not to greet with my left. For crying out loud, even if I move to a foreign country where it's acceptable, I cannot do it, because in my mind, I was always told by my grandparents, you can't use your left because your left has, done other things in the background. I'm not saying other children cannot do it, but as you're teaching them, explain to them what it is. Then they have the right to choose for themselves what is good and what is bad. If they move out of our cultural setting and go out, they can translate into whatever, but they understand, and when they come back, they appreciate it. There's some things that in Ghana we don't do because there are morals behind it, there are ethics behind it. If you're not teaching the children these things, then we think all in the name of westernization will fail.
I always have a problem when you go for functions, state functions, and you have, or special events, and you have a cultural troupe come up. The MC introduces them to come and do a certain dance. They come and jump around and jump and do all the things. Nobody explains anything. And then they all go and then they tell you to clap. When I MC events, I make it an effort to explain to the crowd or the audience what kind of dance is being done, the origin of the dance, what it signifies, where it's come from, so they can better appreciate it. If you don't, just people come and just dance in this because they are playing drums and say, well, they're doing what? Then what have you done? For me, it took a long time for me when I started stage acting to stop using my left, to start using my left hand. Because like you said, my father told me, you can't use your left hand in public. We'll take a break at this point.
We will.
Change the educational system. Change it. Change the educational system. Good morning. Change it. One more time, and happy birthday to you, Mrs. Lydia Hanzi. It's your birthday today, mother of Bernard Hanzi, who works here at TV3. Happy birthday to you. If it's your birthday as well, enjoy the day and stay blessed. But let's check out your WhatsApp messages. The early birds are in already. Tahir Ibrahim from Ipabungu says, is Katie Hammond trying to say that the RTI bill shouldn't be passed into law? I don't understand why RTI in Ghana has something to do with Tony Blair somewhere. It go be about parochial and self-aggrandizement. Okay, does MPP members truly believe, or do the MPP members truly believe in the rule of law? The abuse of power by this MPP government is too much. This government is so lawless and so arrogant that they don't even respect some aspects of the constitution, to the fact that they have disregarded the recommendations as to how the free SHS should be implemented, leading to this messy situation where secondary schools are being run in Tots, Asanko in Santa Maria. And what is the president, Martin Amidu, and their MPP collaborators waiting for to collect Woyome's money? Didn't they make noise that it was ex-President Mahama who was not willing to collect the money? Now that they are in power, what are they waiting for to collect the money? Is this not hypocrisy? Asanko comes back from Santa Maria. Is it not strange that the so-called intellectuals who are condemning the winner-takes-all system when NDC was in power are now quiet? Hypocrisy at its highest level. And Justice Crab had a very interesting answer to the winner-takes-all situation. I'll share that with you in the coming days. Good morning. Newly trained teachers are trying to do a demonstration because the government has let them write a licensure exam, and it's sad by the NSS should be posted. I can't get it. Teacher Brofudi. Okay. Good morning, John, and my able lady. I salute you all. The good people of Bakbaba community are grateful to the District Director of Education and his deputy of the Nanumba North District for splitting the Bakbaba LA JSS into 2. We are now pleading for a new headmaster and more staff. We are grateful. Kagba Farmer says that. Johnny, good morning. Tell the MPP man that he and his party should give us a break. NAPCO started work yesterday. Okay, so this one was, I'm sure you meant it for yesterday because of Kamal. And they are supposed to teach in our various classrooms. So we trained teachers are still in the house with all the license exams written. And now again, we're to go and do national service. Have NAPCO recruits done all this? MPP give us a break. 2020, we go shown and I say OPK from Lolobi, a newly trained teacher. He says he is. Good morning to the best crew ever. You both look great in the African Prince. I beg, bring my role model back because I've missed him lots. Senior Bright will come back shortly. Edem promise. Our roads are not good at all. Not Kaneshi and Buashi roads. Thank you, Johnny. You're looking good today. Alatic, grateful. The roads there, if you want to talk about them, it will be a problem. Good morning. I think officials of NAPCO should treat us like graduates, not students. What sort of life is that? 2020 loading Abdullah from Tamale sent that one. And we'll wrap up with a tilapia cartoon. It says, Oga in my pocket, FC red carded. And, well, the picture is what the lawyers will say, res ipsa loquitur. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? Well, let it sip in a bit. Let it sit in. Okay, great. So we'll take a break at this point. When we return, there's more action here on New Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And the Daily Guide this morning says 6 ministers approved. Stadium contract scandal hits NDC. 1.6 million Ghana cedis missing. Education is our best bet, according to Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic. Government rubbishes NDC's corruption tag against the president. The Finder newspaper says holistic education is a must. It should be anchored on ethics, morals, and principles. FIFA relied on government information to ban Nyantechi, according to the government. And passport forms now free and available online. Ghana secures 60 million IDA credit to create jobs for the poor. And goods found without tax stamp will be seized and destroyed, according to Yanchura. The Ghanaian Times newspaper for this morning says HIV infection rates shoot up. AGI raises red flag over tax stamp, and CID completes investigation over Kwesi Nyantechi, AG to receive docket. Education must mold character. President Akufo-Addo. The Herald newspaper says beer bar evidence can't jail corrupt Mahama appointees. Akufo-Addo's lawyer tells frustrated MPP foot soldiers in defense. It comes with the photo of lawyer Kutuam Pao, the Attorney General, Gloria Kufu there, and John Kumar as a lawyer, and Reverend John Intimfo, MP for Asin South. Interesting. Well, there's another one here. It says MPP youth leader emboldens Delta Force boss with appointment. And the Daily Graphic. Prince Charles, Camilla arrived today. Avoid KNUST crisis. University of Ghana VC tells lecturers, and Parliament approves upon Nkrumah others. Political vigilantism. Police can't act. Laws on appointments need reforms. ACP Dr. Agbojo. And finally, fund managers move to close down guaranteed return schemes. The Gold Street business. My guest this morning are the regional secretary of the NDC, the Greater Accra region, and former member of parliament for the Ablekuma North constituency, Central constituency. Theophilus Tetecha is here. Chief, good morning. Thank you very much. Eric Chum is a member of the MPP's communication team, a trusted member. Eric, welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Grateful. So let's start off on a social note. Something I saw on the front page of the Daily Graphic that suggests that the Ghanaian Times, that the HIV infection rate has shot up again. And as we get ready to mark the World AIDS Day on 1st December, this is the shocking revelation we have, that new HIV infections across the country shot up to 19,101 as of the end of 2017, slightly higher than 2016 figures of about 16,000, the Ghana AIDS Commission has observed. Out of the number, about 3,400 children were infected with the disease, as prevalence rates among men who slept with their fellow men were at 18%, and female sex workers around 7%. This is the shocking revelation we had. We thought we were winning the fight against HIV 28, and then now we are being told this. Eric, are we losing the fight?
Well, good morning once again. Good morning to my senior friend here, and then to yourselves, and then more especially to the viewers of TV3 this morning. It's quite an alarming statistics to read out this morning. I'm sure that over the period we've made some gains, and we should probably go back to see how we're able to do that. I think that normally when these things happen, we would be harping on the effects and the things that you need to do and all of those things. But once we start making significant gains, then we probably relax a little bit. And I think that probably we are not talking about it enough. We're not doing enough education, and we're not creating enough platforms for young people especially to be able to ascertain what it is that they can do to prevent that. So I think that we all have a role to play. Maybe once we get opportunities like this, we should use certain portions of our time to essentially project the effects of certain practices and how it would lead to the infection of HIV, AIDS, and all of those things. But again, sometimes what it means is that we're probably even more effective at the collection of data and all of those things, but it might not probably mean that such an alarming increase. But the fact that we have a target, which is to essentially stop it by 2030, means that we probably need to up our game in terms of the opportunities available to young people. And sometimes you probably would also do a certain geographic or even demographic analysis, and you find out that it will probably be prevalent in certain parts of the country. And if it does that, what it means is that we need to find ways and means of targeting those areas to make sure that we're able to deal with the issues. I think that in this day and age, with all the platforms that we have in terms of media platforms and social media and all of those things, we probably also have to think outside of the box in terms of how we communicate that and educate our young people against the ills.
Right. Theo, take a bite on this one. This year's theme for World AIDS Day says, know your status, test, treat to suppress the new HIV infections. That's what we're going to talk about this year. Yeah, any hope?
First of all, let me say good morning to our viewers. And also, I commend TV3 for your recently the awards that you won recently.
Yes. Four solid awards.
To commend you for that great
We're grateful.
effort.
We're grateful.
Are we winning the fight against AIDS in this country? Per the statistics that has been released, I believe that as a country, we've moved one step forward, and now we are moving 2 steps backwards. And that is what clearly the statistics are telling us this morning. What has gone wrong? For me, publicity has gone down very low. Publicity. The AIDS Commission, I believe, is not well resourced. Their focus is mainly on child-to-mother transmission, leaving the other aspect, that is the citizenry as a whole, what they need to do to ensure that that level of education is actually heightened. And that is what is causing the problem. That notwithstanding, there are other socioeconomic factors. One, areas that are becoming very, very not suitable to be habited tend to create a lot of health hazards for us as a country. And I just don't want to mention names, but our governments know what to do. They know how to tackle this menace. But the question is, are we committing ourselves in terms of putting in the needed resources to ensure that these things are reduced? In certain countries, they've reduced the HIV menace significantly. But why are we going backwards? It's because we've not paid much attention because of the early days successes that we chalked as a country. And that is why we are here today. So now that we've been told what is happening, it is time government put in a lot of resources, increase the educational programs that were normally done in terms of highlighting the ills of this particular disease, so that the youth especially will be conscientized as to what to do and what not to do.
Right.
I believe education has gone down.
Education has gone down.
Very low.
That's our wake-up call, and I'm sure you have thoughts and comments to share as well. 020-2166-33. That's our WhatsApp line. Let's move on to page 3 of the Daily Guide. It says stadium contract scandal hits NDC, and we want to tie that in with another story that says government rubbishes NDC's corruption tag against president. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports is struggling to trace the source of funding for the construction of a stadium at New Edubiasi in the Ashanti region, even though an amount of 1,650,271 was said to have been paid to the contractor. Sports Minister Isaac Kwame Siama indicated that his outfit cannot trace the source of the funding for the construction of the New Edubiasi Sports Stadium. And we remember that former President Mahama cut the sword for the 10-seater stadium in 2016, but we're being told that we can't find the money. And it comes with the picture of Neil Van der Poel there. Why now, Eric Chung? Somebody will ask, why are we raising these red flags at this point?
Well, thank you once again. I think yesterday I heard snippets of this particular issue, and there's been an attempt to try and deal with the issue as in terms of the allegations.
Okay.
But why now? I think that once you take over the running of a ministry or even any agency, it takes quite a while to unravel certain things. And I'm sure that that's the point that we've got into. Because I don't have too much information in terms of exactly the nitty-gritties of the contract and all of those things. Maybe you can help.
Let me share a little more with you. It says, according to the sports minister, the funding for the project was not captured in the 2015 and 2016 budget, and there was no evidence of sponsorship for the project. Now, the minister indicated in Parliament that the construction firm Shakdeen Limited received the 1.6 million in excess from the then sports minister Neil Van der Poel. However, the contractor Nuruddin Shakiri denied that the amount of money was paid to him. He spoke to an Accra-based radio station yesterday that he cannot confirm how much was paid to him, added that it could be in the range of 800,000 Ghana cedis. The matter has been referred to the National Security Investigation and all of that.
Well,
so here we're being told that this is money that has been paid. The contractor said, I don't have the money, and the stadium is not there either.
Well, so it's a very murky situation. That's why I actually wanted you to read that. So in one vein, the contract itself was not captured in a budget.
Right.
And then there's also evidence that some monies have been paid to a contractor. And then the contractor is now disputing the fact that the said amount was paid to him. The most important thing really right now is that stadium up. I mean, do we have a stadium is there physical evidence that monies has been spent and we have a stadium in New Edubiasi? So I believe that the investigation should continue. We urge the investigative authorities to act with dispatch so we get to the bottom of it. I mean, it's not really important to make or speculate as to what has really happened until that investigation. But from the look of it, from the surface, this looks like a very interesting, if you like, murky thing that needs to be delved into. I mean, my good friend here was in Parliament at the time. I mean, if there was anything in the budget or something of that sort, we probably would know. If that was not the case and there was an alternative source of funding and it's meant to be a national project that a certain president at the time are actually going to cut the sort, we also need to find out. And there were people around within the sports ministry and within the presidency at the time who would be able to come and clear the air.
So the contractor says he's been visiting the Bureau of National Investigations on the issue. I'm sure he's been invited. But the board chairman of the National Sports Authority, Kwadwo Baajman, has accused Mr. Van der Poel of concealing payments made in this regard. This is a serious issue to the extent that this would have been a standard stadium, if you will. Why didn't it show in the budget? Do we know the figures?
Thank you very much. First of all, this story broke yesterday.
Okay.
This was supposed to be a question that the Minister of Sports had to answer to Parliament yesterday. Unfortunately, you know, in Parliament, normally the questions are written in this other paper before even the minister goes to the plenary to actually respond to the issues. So although it has not been raised officially, some of the newspapers thought it wise to raise the issue. But I also listened to the former sports minister yesterday, and he raised a lot of issues, concerns about the attitude of the current sports minister as to the response he even gave to Parliament on the issue. Because he alluded to the fact that if you don't have an information on an issue and you have a predecessor, what you need to do is to confer with him, especially he being your colleague in Parliament. It wasn't a difficult thing to do. But it tells you that as a country, some of our leaders are not working. They are sleeping on the job. And so therefore, they are not able to put to the fore issues that they are supposed to work on diligently and then report to the citizenry. Because if you look at the response that the minister gave, yes, the sports ministry may not have the resources to embark upon a project, okay? But there are several interventions that government can make, especially when the issue is of a national appeal. And so therefore, there are several ways you can go around this thing to find exactly where the resources were coming from.
Why are there no documents to say that this is it? President Mahama came to cut the sword. We are constructing this. This is the document for it. Why was it not in the budget? And why can't we trace the document at the ministry? Why?
I'm not sure the issue is about documents not being traced.
Okay.
Because yesterday, if you listen to Neil Ante,
if they can't tell the source of the funding,
the source of funding is known from the presidency. It's known. And
So
that is
the presidency
that's the whole mischief about this story. The source of funding.
There's mischief in there.
Yes, the source of funding was from the presidency.
The office of the president.
Of course, they can use their resources as national intervention. They do that. Go and ask President Akufo-Addo. They do. Yes.
Wow.
When it comes to certain interventions, sometimes
to build a stadium.
Eric, allow
I'm
him
just
to.
asking. I'm
No,
quite
allow him.
intrigued. I've never
I want him to.
Oh, you see, he's young in governance,
It's
so
okay, it's
I
okay.
can understand.
Well,
Thanks.
I'm
But that's the reality.
I'm modest enough to accept.
Exactly, that's the reality.
I'm curious if the government, the presidency, gets a budget to do A, B, and C to run its office and to do. Why would they lift a chunk of it to go and construct a stadium? I'm just curious to know.
That was one of the most important things that particular area needed at that particular time. That is the social intervention they wanted. In fact, the chiefs and people of Dubiasi, that was the request. And as at that time, the ministry had no resources to fund that project. And that is why the presidency looked for resources to embark on this project.
So confirm for me, Theo, this resource, the over 1.6 million, was actually sourced from the presidency and was supposed to be used for this new stadium at Dubiasi. Now, if this money has been expended, the stadium is still incomplete.
Do you know the cost of that particular project?
I don't know. You tell me.
It was about 6 million.
Okay.
So this is 1.6. But you see, the question is, I'm saying there is some mischief in this story.
Okay. Tell me
because
what the mischief is.
When it comes to projects, we have technical advisors for projects.
Okay.
We have consultants to projects.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have contractors who embarks on the project. So if you are a minister and you want to know how that project has been taken care of, there are several sources that you can get your information from. Okay? But you not doing all this, and then you put a very scanty information to the public that the money has been misapplied without consulting these bodies. Clearly, what do you seek to achieve?
Your side seems to have an issue with the minister's attitude as opposed to
providing information. Are you surprised? That has been his character since he was the chairman, ranking member for sports. That has been his approach.
How does that solve
He has
the
an
problem?
issue with Neil and Devon.
Oh, he does?
Oh, yes. It is a known fact that the public is aware of. And I believe, that is true. It is true because look, Johnny.
I think that you have done more disservice to Neil Ante van der Poel and even the former president.
Oh, how so?
If you shouldn't have even gone this
allow
route,
me
because
this
whole explanation.
Allow him to have his take.
That is the truth. That is the truth.
So you say there's bad blood between the two.
Look, but who doesn't know this? Who doesn't know this? That is why I'm saying that, look, as a minister, if you are not sleeping on the job, you will not put up such a story. That a whole ministry that has embarked on a project, you can't find documents to the project, you don't know the technical staff that handle the project, you don't know the consultants to the project. Come on. What are we talking about? It's just to create that mischief. And Neil Ante yesterday,
what does he seem to gain?
From just all this while they've tried as much as they can to Batman Neil Ante van der Poel, and they have not succeeded. Everybody knows in this country that he has been one of the sports ministers that did his work diligently, okay, even against the odds. But today, we are all privy to some of the good things that he did, okay, and today, the results are all showing to all of us. But you see, the point is this. As a newly appointed minister that has taken over a ministry, if a question is brought to you, okay, as a minister to respond to those questions, go to the relevant institutions or bodies that were directly in charge of the contract. And they will tell you exactly how the contract came into being, what took place, the documentation, and so on and so forth. Are we saying that the technical people to this contract are not available in this country? Are we saying that the whole Ministry of Youth and Sports did not know anything about this contract? Come on. Let's see the story. Let's see how it unfolds.
Eric, is that mischief?
I'm actually quite scandalized this morning, and it basically is a classic example of the sort of governance that was bequeathed to us and Ghanaians had to endure. You know, we had issues with budget overruns and deficits coming from the office of the president, where clear budgetary allocations. Let me make
it is worse now.
Let me make my point. Now, per his logic, per his argument, then why should we even have a Ministry of Finance, for instance? Why don't you put all the monies in the kitty of the Office of the President so that the Office of the President can go about actually initiating projects?
Since it was a social intervention.
No, but the point is that, the point is very simple. As we speak, an amount of 1.6 million allegedly has been expended, but we don't have a stadium. Now, there was a certain
some
minister,
work has been done.
There was a certain sports minister at the time. There was a sports ministry at the time.
Right.
I'm still struggling to understand how we can find any sort of justification to have gone to sink 1.6 million Ghana cedis into a stadium project without dedicated source of even funding for it to start with. Again, this whole argument about there's some bad blood between the minister and Van der Poel is neither here nor there, because as far as I'm concerned, these are two individuals who can actually deal with these issues themselves. In any case, when there's an issue of bad blood, how does it relate to it being just from one individual? It takes, like they say, it takes two to tango. How do you even sit here and suggest that it might be coming from the Honorable Minister or is coming from Honorable Nilante Van der Poel? I mean, this is a national issue. This is something that is of significance to majority of Ghanaians.
Could the Minister for
How
Youth and Sports?
Is it possible? How is it possible that the Office of the President would go and initiate a stadium project and not be able to even provide the necessary documentation for it? And you're asking us that we should go and ask the consultant, we should go and ask
the minister have done two
background checks? Let me ask you something.
The people
how did the minister got to know
let
that 1.6 has been paid if there are no documentations to that effect?
The people who were superintending over that Office of the Presidency at the time should do us a favor. I mean, if there's absolutely nothing to hide, should do us a favor and show those documents. Why are you now asking the minister to now go on a merry dance to go and look for documentation when there was a minister responsible? You have sat here and confirmed that the monies were coming from the Office of the President, and then you've actually alluded mischief to it. So if that is the case and you feel that it's mischief and there's absolutely nothing untoward that happened and you superintended over that project, and as far as I'm concerned, for public financial management reasons and the reasons why we do the things that we do, you're in Parliament. To even justify that a stadium is the most important social intervention that was asked for by the people of New Dubiase, you went to put the 1.6 million in there. You didn't finish. No, but the point is that we need to be able to even ascertain if that is the case. So of all the challenges that we have in this country, right, the people of New Dubiase now woke up one morning and said, oh, all that we wanted was a stadium, an uncompleted stadium. That is what they wanted.
Do you smell?
No, so for me, one, I have challenges. I will not sit here and make unsubstantiated allegations of corruption against anybody, because the national security have been asked to investigate. What I have a challenge with is a concept of being able to justify the Office of the Presidency using monies that. So that is why for the 8 years that you were in power, every single year, the budget overruns from the Office of the President. Sometimes were even as much as 40-50%.
Now, what question should he ask?
No, but that is
go to the presidency
and that the presidency is overrunning
some of their
resources
for intervention.
Is that best practice?
Like what?
No, but you account for it. You account for it.
Oh. But
resources, bear in mind, resources that are allocated to the president.
Eric, don't we have
resources?
Don't we have misappropriation laws in this country? Don't we have misappropriation laws in this country? We do. And I'm saying that if that is the case, it has to be investigated properly. But in any case, it is wrong, because if you sink public money into projects that do not have dedicated fund sources to it, and you're not able to follow it through. For instance, if it was a Ministry of Sports project, right, youth and sports project, and it's an ongoing project, then the Ministry of Youth and Sports would decide would decide that they would continue the project. They will add it to the subsequent budget. Okay. Now, in 2015, it wasn't in the budget. In 2016, it wasn't in the budget. So how were you expecting the project to go? So the presidency had dedicated a certain amount of money, 6 million Ghana cedis, to finish the project.
Perhaps the presidency is that what you're saying? A plan to do it, to follow it. Look, what was the plan to fund the project? What was the plan?
That is laughable.
An amount was earmarked to start
from the presidency.
Okay. Of course. Eric, hold on, please.
Of course.
Thank you. You have made your point.
To start this particular project.
But what was the plan to continue and finish it? Was there a plan?
Well, definitely, once a project is started, there's a plan.
It turns out now that there was no plan because it's not finished.
Listen,
the people in New Edugbiase can't boast of a stadium.
If a government takes over, and then decides to halt or not to fund a project, do you blame the previous government?
No, but
hold on.
Eric, when you started, in 2014, Eric, you could have put in a budget. In 2016, you could have put in
Eric, allow him a chance to make his point as well.
The question is, if a government takes over from another government, okay, and then that government refuses to resource certain projects that are ongoing.
But that is not
the case. Hold on. Listen to your own minister. Listen to your own minister.
So your argument is that a government fails to source funds for a project that's ongoing.
Exactly. And then
but then in this case, the funds were sourced from the presidency. What if this presidency also has the people in Trapatre also asking them to construct a school building for them? And so they think that's the best social intervention that they could follow.
Well, it is up to government to look for alternative source of funding.
Why don't we have a dedicated source of funding that is trusted, that is constant, that we can use to finish the project,
Johnny,
as opposed to falling on the presidency, which is not best practice anyway.
Johnny, in this country, the only source of dedicated funding for projects in this country is when we go for loans.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Tell me which project. Tell me over the years. Tell me which project that government has decided to embark upon using its own resource has been able to do it very well. Tell me. No, I'm here. I have, since my time in office as a member of parliament, I have never seen such a thing up to today.
Why is that so? I'm curious. Why can't we
I beg to differ.
Take charge of
it? Give me an example of a project.
I beg to differ.
Give me an example of a project.
There are a lot of GOG projects.
Tell us.
In various sectors.
It's not generic. Tell me, give me an example.
Eric, you want to share an example?
Yes.
Listen, you see, let me tell you something. This is an attempt.
Even the ones
this is an attempt.
That even our taxes go into it directly.
Yes. Okay.
Like the GET fund, common fund, and the rest.
Do we take long to do please GET fund project and common fund project?
Are the resources allocated at the times that they are supposed to be allocated?
But that is a different...
No, it tells you.
The point is very simple.
That the resources are limited.
You
have limited resources.
Okay, one at a time, gentlemen. One at a time.
It was more of a politically expedient thing to do.
Look.
You did it. You didn't follow due process. So you had an opportunity to do it right by adding it or making sure that it's captured in the budget in 2015, in 2016. You didn't do so, and then you
will this NPP government make it right?
No, but for me,
will the NPP government make it right?
That is a legitimate question.
Okay.
Now, so far as there's a need for that particular stadium, and per his assertion, that it seems to be the most important thing that the people asked for.
Okay.
And monies have already been
sunk. It was a request by the chiefs and people.
Been sunken. Let's by all means find ways of
Is that commitment there?
But we should find a commitment because, again, it shouldn't be one of those things where it becomes a political back and forth because it was started by the NDC and it's been left to rot. It shouldn't be a good thing. That shouldn't be the sort of governance that we should give to our people.
Right.
But my point really is that then that has to be activated through the right process. The Ministry of Youth and Sports should go look at the stage at which the project has actually gotten to, how much it will take to finish the project, and then add it to part of their programs and activities and make sure that it's captured in the budget.
Okay.
As we speak, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to read the budget.
In November, mid-November.
You understand? What it means is that if that process has not been done, it's just going to be another long wait again, because then it's not captured properly.
I trust the minister to put it in the budget now that he's spoken about it.
But the man is even refusing to even respond to the questions.
But the whole idea, that
just to create the impression that people
willy-nilly, there's a request from a community somewhere, and then you take the budgetary allocation given to the president to go and do it without the needed...
Theo says it's not new.
Oh, but he should have given examples. He should have given. He was asking me to give up. He should have given examples.
But you also didn't give your example.
No, but he mentioned it.
So both of you are failing to give the example.
He says that there's never been allocation where GOG.
Yes.
Projects have been followed.
Listen to
and
me.
I said, we have Get Fund projects that have been completed in this country.
Okay.
We have Common Fund projects that have been completed in this country. We have projects in this country that have gone through full GOG support. Some projects have counterpart funding from government and the either donor community or the international community. Or
all right.
Look, let me give you an example.
So we need to move on.
Let me give you an example.
We need to move on.
You see, that's why I'm saying, look, we need to educate ourselves. Look, during the last 2 elections, you can't remember when there was a rerun, okay? Was there budget for the EC for the rerun? No. You know how we got the resources? From the office of the president. Please, if you don't understand it, just allow people who have gone through to tell you exactly how things are.
Melvin Tallow, my brother at Daily Guide, has this one. It's connected, so we'll just finish it.
I disagree.
And read a few comments. Now, it says government has debunked allegations by the opposition National Democratic Congress that President Akufo-Addo played a role in the bribery scandal that rocked the GFA. The NDC in a statement signed by its national organizer, Kofi Adams, following announcement by FIFA of lifetime ban of former president of GFA, Kwesi Nyantakyi, called for an independent investigation of President Akufo-Addo as far as its involvement in the said scandal was concerned. Remember that in the number 12 expose, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi says he has some people in his pocket. The NDC is calling for an independent investigation, but your side say this is just smear propaganda. What do you say? You stand with them?
This is morning TV, so I need to calm down.
Yeah, calm down.
And be listen.
Calm
this is
down.
The most preposterous, ridiculous statement that should have come from any minority. You see, and I think that the NDC should take Ghanaians seriously and stop this Mickey Mouse politicking that they are doing. And it's all boils down to gimmickry and all of it. There are more important things that we can talk about in this country. Listen, if I'm going to go by that logic, if I'm going to go by the logic of what the NDC actually has written, purported to come from Mr. Kofi Adams, then they have absolutely no business even having the moral authority to write something like that.
Why is that?
Listen, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi has come out to say that the things that he said about certain individuals, including the first gentleman of this country, the president, were untrue, and that he was basically using it as a basis to peddle influence. The statement is there.
Somebody said he was forced to say it.
No, but that is ridiculous. You see, when we go by that, Martin Amidu, at the time he had issues and he was actually kicked out of government, came out and said that the certain vice president at the time was being investigated by former late President Mills for certain acts of indiscretion and corruption. Right? There's a gentleman called Kanazue who was caught on tape clearly stating that he has given a Ford Explorer gift to a former President Mahama. a plethora of examples.
Connection?
The connection is very simple. You see, if we want to go by this logic of a statement, this is an apology of a statement coming from the NDC, without even sticking to the facts, when they have known clearly that the Deputy Attorney General has on several occasions said that the issue has been given to the CID, it's been investigated. And even in the aftermath of the FIFA ban, clearly a statement coming from FIFA stating categorically that this is a certain collaboration between the government of Ghana and FIFA.
Right.
Now, the CID,
wrap up for me.
The CID are done with their investigations. They'll take the issue to the Attorney General for scrutiny and further. But
he said the docket will be ready by today.
To try to bring the president into this and to claim some kind of cheap political point, as far as I'm concerned, it's childish, it's unnecessary, it takes away from the conversation. Because I go and stand on a platform and I make even allegations against you.
Okay.
Right? I make very serious allegations against you. Now, the NDC are now turning the whole subject of rule of law upside down, saying that the individual that the allegations have been made against should be the one who should come out and absolve themselves. It's ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense.
Okay,
listen,
I think Eric...
if they want us to go that route, they want us to go that route. It is not a route that they would be able to traverse. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just double standard, double speak. When issues about this 1.6 million thing came up, all of a sudden they said, what? It's mischief. And that they are justifying the fact that you can misappropriate funds that's meant for the presidency and go there.
Great.
But when it's an issue to do with President Akufo-Addo, even if it's the most spurious nature, it is true.
Okay.
What kind of double standards?
Double standards, mischief, propaganda. What are you engaged in?
And that one is
let him know that even the sitting president had to run to the police to make a formal complaint on this matter.
Yes, but that has been done.
Hold on.
Yeah, so
Eric, allow him a chance to speak.
It has never happened in the history of this country that a sitting president will run to the CID.
He wants the system to work.
Exactly, for people to be investigated.
He wants the system
because
to work.
of the issues at stake. Okay? Now, he made certain allegations in that videotape that we all saw. Okay? Even the Flagstaff House had to quickly arrange a press release ahead of even the showing of the video. You quite remember. It tells you how serious the government found that particular incident. Okay? Now, certain allegations have been made against officials of this country. And as good citizens as we are, the onus lies on us to ensure that investigations are concluded and the reports brought back to the fore.
Why are you drawing the president into this?
No, but why did the president run to the CID?
But so
no, hold on.
Hold on.
What investigation?
Johnny, please.
Can you define the remit?
Why did the president run to the CID? I'm not the one drawing the president in, because he felt his image has been what? Tagged. Is that not it? So I am not the one drawing in the president. If a whole sitting president has to run to the CID, you don't tell me I'm the one drawing in the president. He found it necessary that the issue at stake is going to tarnish his image.
Can I ask him one?
Hold on, you can't ask me
one.
We gotta read some messages.
I can ask you a question.
We'll read some messages. Gentlemen, I think let's read the messages.
You are the host.
Eric, you want to take over my job. You want to take over my job.
You're always sitting president. You have to run to the CID.
No.
Why did he run to the CID?
My point is if somebody has been caught
says, good morning, Amma and Johnny. President
Nana has gone off gear. Second-year students of SHS, when they come home, will stay at home for 3 good months. So what kind of system is this? What will they be doing? This free SHS has spoiled our educational system. He should be careful. 2020 is coming. We'll remove him. Nurses allowance when giving a month until 3 months for another 1 month will come. 2020 is coming. Teachers are waiting. Unemployed graduates are waiting. 2020, Martha from Bolgatanga. Everybody seems fixated on 2020 already. Ghana and its things. Education must change character, but I have a concern with a student studying CRS. I look at their behavior, tells me they learned nothing. Let's stakeholders, parents, and the entire community be involved in education, and things will change. Wishing Mother Ghana the best. MPP indeed are running a state with a renewed and improved confidence. We can only thank the president for his pragmatic, humane policies such as NAPCO that is cushioning the Ghanaian people from greater height, Kabiesi and Sekendi. If Ghana wants to produce proactive citizens, then it's time to introduce entrepreneurship as core subject right from basic level. Martin from Begro. I was shocked yesterday when the MPP communicator made an appalling and disgusting comment that it was the NDC individuals who were texting in regard to all NAPCO trainees starting work yesterday, and has boldly given a source of info. Good morning, TV3. Well, a lot more about NAPCO. Okay, good morning, Johnny. Let Eric know that the nurses and midwives across the country, numbering 8,042, currently doing their national service since April this year, have not been paid their coins yet. The few that have been paid also have the amount reduced to 781 Ghana cedis instead of the 860 Ghana cedis as net income. This government should sit up, or they have disappointed nurses in this country. Daniel Alitu, PRO Coalition of Rotation Nurses. God bless you for the good work you're doing. God bless you too. Good morning, Johnny. Did I hear the president say he's paying much attention to education? I totally disagree with him. First time in his government, newly trained teachers have completed and no job for them, you say. Well, the president should call his education minister to order. He speaks as if we are, I don't think that your words are intimidating. He's threatening to sack teachers and leadership in a meeting that they had with him last week. Also, okay, he left the room in anger, you see. I want the Honorable Theophilus Tsechai to explain to Ghanaians why the project is not captured in the national budget. Ziga Patrick from Mafikumasi. Good morning, Mr. Johnny. Once again, MPP is trying another diversionary tactics. Since when did the minister realize this? Is it because Ghanaians are currently talking about the rot at the Maritime Authority funding Ghana? I will urge NDC not to follow them, for their aim is to divert attention from corruption going on now for us in Tamale. It's time this government takes a huge step, or huge steps, and to bring all those past officials who have subjected our collective wealth into financial carnage to book. It's time we salvage this nation from reckless dissipation of our resources and other criminal conspiracies from self-centered personalities. Kabiesi Secretary. Good morning, Mr. Host, and to your panelists. I salute Mr. Tsechai with a superb delivery. Please, it's high time the MPP stop their diversionary tactics. Why are they raising such an issue now? Why are they doing this? Because the minority said the president should be investigated to clear his name from the unearthed expose. By the way, Ghanaians want to know where the 400 million oil cash had passed. Ramad Damongo, Northern Region. Jagos in Sawam says, in fact, Ghana CID and the police department power, they are now out with the outcome of Kwesinya Atichi's investigation they carried out on that. So if FIFA didn't come out with their verdict, like by now, they would still be sitting there drinking tea in the office and each and every day. Hey, Ghana. Good morning, Johnny. The very people that are responsible for inculcating good values, ethics, and moral uprightness in children are teachers. Johnny, as we are speaking, the newly trained teachers are waiting for their posting. I therefore urge the teachers, you will push authorities to do that in Dampe. Okay, the MPP man, tell the MPP man that upon all the hardship and crisis in this country, the president is on the tangent going to build National Cathedral. Is that a social intervention? All these politicians are the same. What's the need for voting in this country? Well, it's your civic responsibility. We'll come back and read some more of your messages. But Honorable Theophilus Tsechai is a former member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central Constituency. He's the regional secretary of the NDC for the Greater Accra region. Theo, I thank you very much for your time. And Eric Chu is an integral member of the MPP's communication team. What issue did you have to raise?
You see, the NAPCO
You don't want to NAPCO team.
No, hold on. Hey, Johnny,
okay.
You know what has happened?
No, what has happened?
We have recruited over 100,000 people, and then have only
put only a few group of people
44,000. That's it.
Well,
but we're told that in the coming days they will all be put out there. Yes.
They said they are posting them. They're in the process.
They are in the process of posting them.
Everybody will be posting.
Okay.
What are you talking
We'll
about?
take a break now. We'll return with some more here on TV3 New Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's time for us to talk about our reality show here, Ghana's Most Beautiful. And joining me in studio to talk about this is Nee Dorte. He is the head of news here at Online Media General. And he's going to tell us about the voting process, because some of you are confused as to exactly how to vote, who gets the highest vote, and how the votes are calculated for the day so that your favorite contestant is not evicted from the GMB contest. Good morning, Nee. How are you?
Good morning, Alma. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks for coming. But let's start off by talking about voting processes, because over the years, I think some of the voting processes have changed when it comes to Ghana's Most Beautiful, and viewers want to know and understand so that they can keep their favorite contestant in the show. So how do we go about it? What platform do we use to start off with?
So, thinking, we have used SMS voting over the years. An introduction or an innovation we introduced this year was to include mobile money votes.
Right.
What that helps us to do is to allow people or help people to vote in bulk or in bundles.
Okay.
Previously, if you wanted to put in 1,000 votes for your contestant, you have to do that individually. So you have to do a single vote 1,000 times to be able to vote for the person. That is very cumbersome and difficult for the person to do. So all we sought to do this year was to allow people to put in bulk votes. So I know already that I want to put in 1,000 votes.
Okay.
So I go through the GMB app, which is on the Google Play Store on Android. And then once I download the app, I can vote through the app.
Okay.
The steps have been made very easy to allow people to go to vote. And so you just click on vote, and you can choose the platform you want to vote, whether you want to use SMS or mobile money. And then you follow through the process to choose your network, and then you vote for your contestant. Now, one of the other things we've done is, in order to encourage more people to vote through the mobile money platform, because it's an innovation we've introduced this year, you get a 15% discount if you vote through mobile money. What it means is that if you wanted to put in 1,000 votes and you voted through SMS, you'll be charged 60 pesos per vote.
Okay.
But if you voted through mobile money, you pay 45 pesos per vote.
Nice.
It means you can put in more votes for your contestant and keep the person in the house. Okay. And there's a catch for the voter out there as well, because the more you put in the votes, the more you stand a chance of being declared the highest texter or the second every week. And every week we give out fridges, microwaves, gas cookers, other electrical appliances. Nice. And this courtesy of Mobile Content, who gives us these prices to give to our highest texters every week.
Nice. So, Nee, I mean, with the chats, when it comes to the votes, is it only the voters, I mean, people who are voting through SMS, mobile money, the GMB platform, is that the only vote that counts to decide who goes home on the final day?
No. Indeed, again, through feedback from our audience, our viewers over the years, we've decided to give more power to the audience.
Okay.
And so we increased the percentage of the audience score from 40% to 70%. Nice. To put more power in the hands of viewers. Okay. So even though we have done the production and we've selected the ladies and put them in the house, the viewers have a very big stake in determining who continues in the reality house or to go into the final and even win the competition. And so the voters or the audience have 70% share of the score, and the judges have 30%. And so every time there's an eviction, the slate is wiped clean, and you start the process again, so that for the 2-week period before the next eviction, that is what is used to count, because 10 people started the contest. Right. As we speak now, there are 7 people in the contest. And so your performance is going to be judged against the 7 and not of the 10, or against the 6. Right. Each person against the 6 others in the competition and not the 10.
That they started
yes. Right. So the voters or the viewers out there have 70% chance to keep their contestants in the house. The judges have only 30%.
Nice.
And so we put this together to determine who stays or who wins. Interestingly, sometimes you may find out, you may think that, oh, I've got my candidate who is comfortably in the lead, but if your contestant is not doing well enough to satisfy the judges and to also get high scores there, you may find out that at the end of the particular week, you the contestant may not necessarily be the one leading the pack or stay in the competition. And so the power you have is to ensure that you keep voting for your contestant to keep them in the house.
Right. Would you say there's a caveat for when you vote, when you put in the votes? Because people in past have complained that getting to the time of, you know, on Sundays, getting to the time of eviction, there is some difficulty with pushing your votes through. Is this still a problem?
Well, I can't answer that from where I sit, because if there's a problem coming, then it will be a network issue.
Right.
Because we've built a system such that whether you're voting through SMS or mobile money, it comes into a system where we have the back-end access and we're able to check. Right. A few people who may not have gotten a response messages and have called into the system to ask us about it, we've been able to confirm their votes through the back-end and taking screenshots and sent to them. Okay. So people are assured that the votes that they've put in have actually been recorded and accounted for in favor of their contestants. So you would get to see the time you voted, how much you put in the votes, who you voted for, and whether it's been recorded. So all of those log is sent to the voter to be able to see that the votes have actually been recorded and accounted for. Very
well. But also we are worried that what if I don't have TV3 on Sunday at a time where GMB is showing? Is that the only platform that is GMB?
You can actually watch the GMB live shows on our Facebook page, on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and TV3 reality shows. Okay. Now, TV3 reality shows is a dedicated platform for all our realities. Right. And so beyond the live shows, there are other content of the performance of the ladies and other things that goes on the TV3 reality show page. There's also the 3 Extra YouTube page, and I'd like to encourage viewers watching to actually go to YouTube, type 3 Extra, 3XTRA, there's no E, the 3XTRA, and subscribe to the page so that you can get notifications and prompts of the ladies. Indeed, on Wednesday, there was a forced eviction in the house. Would you have known this? Because it's not on television. But this was live on the 3 Extra page and TV3 Realities page. The thing is, once you subscribe to the 3 Extra page, you'd get to see get a notification when these things are uploaded. So exclusive content of the aerobic sessions in the house. There are other things that the ladies are doing that are not available on television, that you would get exclusively on the 3 Extra YouTube channel, and also on the GMB app. And so if you go into the GMB app, you see the profile of each of the contestants on there. And if you click on that, you see their profile videos, you see information about them. The other things that the ladies are doing that are exclusively available on the app and on the YouTube channel, the 3 Extra channel on YouTube.
Very well. That's been Nidorte giving us some updates to the voting process. I'm sure you've heard. And certainly there's a catch in there for you. Highest text tag wins something. And also you get 15% discount if you use the mobile money platform. So make sure you're doing this to keep your favorite contestant in the GMB contest. Anyway, we have news, sports coming up right after this here on New Day. Make sure you stay with us because we've got Yao Ofosulabi coming through with sports.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the sports segment here on New Day. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. To our first story this morning, and on Tuesday, former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, was banned for life from all football-related activities. Now, he has subsequently announced his intention to appeal the ban at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Now, a lawyer for Anas Aremiya Anas, the man who conducted that documentary that led to Kwesi Nyantakyi's downfall, Kisi Eja being also a managing partner at Cromwell Gray LLP, says they have evidence, strong evidence that they've given to FIFA that they can use to incriminate Kwesi Nyantakyi.
From the FIFA end of things, yes, and even more, in the sense that we went asking for a live ban and we got more than what we even asked for. A hefty fine of 500,000 Swiss francs. So it's vindication. But of course, the job is not fully done yet. There's still some to be done, especially in Ghana. It's a mixed feeling in a sense of it being that most of the people involved in this football scandal are personally known to me, and the poster child himself is personally known to me, professionally and on a social level. But when Mr. Anas, Arumi Anas, and his Tiger Eye team presented the evidence to us, that is Chromo Gray LLP, in a conference room somewhere in May of 2018. The humbling nature of the way he presented the evidence and the immense painstaking job that Anas and Tiger Eye had pieced together was so overwhelming in our opinion, and that we knew that it was going to be a close and shut case at FIFA. The petition was actually sent to FIFA before the premiering of number 12 in Accra. It was dispatched from Accra on the 4th of June. The premiering took place on the 6th of June 2018. And it got to Zurich per our tracking of the DHL package. It got to Zurich on the 6th of June. That is the day the number 12 was premiering here in Accra. And by the 8th of June, that is 48 hours after FIFA received it, a temporary ban was placed on Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi. But from the evidence that was presented to us as lawyers, when we analyzed it, pieced it together, we were firmly of the belief that it was a smoking gun case and that this was going to be the outcome. Well, we didn't ask for a fine, but FIFA, in the adjudicatory chamber, in its own wisdom, also decided to add yes to it that he deserved a fine, and a fine of that magnitude.
Do you think the verdict is harsh? I mean, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi himself, in a statement he released yesterday, said that he thought that it was harsh, it was unwarranted, and he thought he was undeserving of punishment, as what the adjudicatory chamber of the ethics committee at FIFA decided to give him. He thinks that the punishment does not fit the crime. As a lawyer, what do you think about this?
I went asking for a life ban based on the evidence that was presented to me by Anas and his Tiger IPI team. And FIFA agreed with us. It is because, as I said earlier, it is because of the magnitude of what he engaged in. And so if someone says the punishment is harsh, well, they would have to come up with some basis for saying the punishment is harsh. Now, if we are to go into the matter, it will become clear that what he did, a person who engages in such an act, and the positions he occupied at the time he engaged in those actions required that he should not be made to come near any football-related activity at all whatsoever. We went asking for 4 things primarily. One, which FIFA did not touch on, was a breach of fiduciary relationship. FIFA did not mention that in the statement that came up. But the 3 of the 4 which FIFA touched on in the statement were these: conflict of interest, bribery and corruption, and the taking of commission. Let me explain them. The conflict of interest comes in when a person in his position, he was a member of the FIFA Council, way up there. And I said on another station that but for this incident, but for the way he conducted himself, who knows, he could have become the first black president for FIFA. He was going really up there and shooting up. He was first vice president of CAF. So if you remove Ahmad from there, the whole of Africa, he was really in charge. If you remove Ahmad from there, first vice president of CAF is a big deal. A person in those positions ought to know better and ought to conduct himself in a way as not to give any indication or impression that he was engaged in some underhand dealings. So, on appeal, he's going to have a very tall task. How to set aside the video evidence. How to set aside the video evidence of him collecting money. How to set aside the video evidence of him engineering an arrangement wherein he was going to engage in egregious conflict of interest.
Just for clarity, you know, the president and his vice were fingered or mentioned in the video. Some ministers were mentioned, some very high-profile individuals in the society were mentioned. Why was it so convenient, you know, for you guys to take some of these individuals out of the investigation, or to halt the investigation at some point, as if to liberate the other high-profile individuals?
You see, in this society, we tend to chase problems with solutions. Just because a person's name has been mentioned by the main star of this whole investigation doesn't mean that person is implicated. You need more. The person mentions the name of the president, that, oh, if you give the president 5 million, I will give the entire country to you, control the whole country. And that implicates the president. That's not necessarily followed that way. Or if you give the vice president this amount of money, I will give the entire country to you. If you want to implicate the president, the vice president, and all the others he mentioned, then you need more. You would have to find out whether they sent him to go sit there to say all that. Simple question. Did Nana Akufo-Addo, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, send Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi to go sit there to say, claim 5 million on my behalf? It's so far-fetched. It's such a long shot. And how do you come to that conclusion? Just because the name is thrown about. Now you see, people have been known to brag. People have been known to talk big for them to look big. Indeed, the man himself in the middle of all this controversy actually told the supposed sheikh that you should Google me, I'm everywhere. He wanted to let the supposed sheikh understand that he was a big person who could get things done for him. Then again, he tried to pull in the president-elect of Liberia. Does that make the sitting president now of Liberia implicated in this matter? No.
So you heard from lawyer Kisie Jabinde, who's lawyer for Anas Arimea Anas there. In that case, Kwesi Nyantakyi has appealed his ban at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Not some other stories, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko are taking serious steps to be ready for their African campaign in the CAF Confederations Cup. And positive developments is that they have been paired with Ashanti Gold Football Club to play in the 2018 J.A. Kufuor Cup. The Porcupine Warriors have a date with Ashanti Gold on the 2nd of December. My colleague Daniel Yeboah has his report.
Kotoko will play Ashanti Gold in the 2018 Kufuor Cup to honor former President John Agyekum Kufuor and raise funds for the Kufuor Foundation. Two of the most successful clubs in Ghana will pitch their weights against each other at the Baba Yara Stadium on December 2. President Kufuor expressed his gratitude to the participating teams.
I appreciate the effort of the organizers in helping bring through soccer, which is the game that commands so much love all over the world, to try to raise resources to endow the foundation. So I'm so happy and thankful, appreciative for the chair, for the two glorious teams under their fabulous leaders, the captains. I'm so proud.
Coach James Kwesi Appiah and former captain of the Black Stars, Stephen Appiah, are both serving as brand ambassadors for the FST encounter. The head coach of the Black Stars was full of praise for the organizers and also pledged his support to raise awareness to ensure a successful match.
I feel proud to be part of such event, and more especially being made an ambassador. Kufuor has been my dad, for some time now. During my playing days, he was the chairman of the club, whilst I was the captain. The course is really good, and that's why I played a part in it.
As Kumasi Asante Kotoko take on Ashanti Gold on the 2nd of December at the Baba Yara Stadium in the J.A. Kufuor Cup. My name is Yao Ofosulabi, and that's all for sports this morning. We'll be back with some more later.
Kumati sebo franka me poi mama we wo. Ma we huwa da mi wo ma wo. Kumati se kupenka me poi mama we wo. How refreshing my life is gonna be. I know I'm much too young, but I know what I feel. I might not have much experience, baby, but I know that love is real. So hold me close, never let me go, take it slow. Boy, me like the way you control. Touch me, never leave me, make me touch the ceiling. Boy, you make me lose my control. Yeah, I love you, my world. I love it all, baby. So mama, son, you know, yeah, boy. I love you, baby. Yeah, I love you, my world. So mama, son, you know, yeah, boy. Baby, my little baby, Ejiyaba, no mere zamane fifi. Amaye abayedupo, for ni jongma uzuchiana. Yana gira suna baya kwana. So hold me close, never let me go, take it slow. Boy, me like the way I control. Touch me, never leave me, make me touch the ceiling, baby. Boy, you make me lose me control. Yeah, darling, oh, so mama, son, you yeah, boy. Sunny, yeah, boo. Baby. Alright. Say no video upon the rhythm and just turn up more this. One time. Yeah. Let's go. Say, baby, control me. Me love it when you own me. Baby, control me. Rude boy, little catch on the edge, make you own me. Ever ready when you're ready, baby, seduce me. Ajemoko bing bong bo, lover, now let go of me. Lover, now let go of me, yeah. Toss me over like a dice, roll me over, not think twice. So when you not from me realize, you keep me out from turning ice. Huh. Toss me over like a dice, roll me over, not think twice. So when you not from me realize, you keep me out from turning ice. Baby, give me this levy. 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 One time. Baby, bunny or chili. Shaka mommy ni mavili. Madam mindo mozogoni yo kiki me. Love it, none of you feel love. Me a go close me ear for all of the fake of them with the back chat. Me not go listen nowhere. Real woman I go stay even one know that boy them give enough chat. Me not go listen nowhere. So me is a teaser. Who you know me is a pleaser. So when me call you papi, call me mamacita. Oh baby, I be your señorita. So me is a teaser. Oh you know me is a pleaser. So when me call you papi, call me mamacita. Oh baby, I be your señorita. Baby, give me this levy. Baby, give me this levy. Kofi, Bani wa Chile. Shaka momini mavili. Madam mean the mozangoni yo kiki me. Lobby. We are going.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in quickly out of love.
My name is Joe. A very wealthy man, and I've been married for 5 years now to a very beautiful lady. We have 3 kids. In fact, I do whatever my wife requires from me as a man to do for her. But not too long ago, I find out some text messages on her phone, which bothers me some way. And what I don't know, it's making me wondering if the children are actually mine. So I'm planning to go for a DNA test just to ensure, or just to be sure, that the children are actually mine. So I need help.
Why do you come here and pretend to be just passing by? But I need to see you.
I don't know if that also is your dilemma, but certainly join us with your comments on 020-2166-633. Join us with your comments on 020-216-6633. But I'm joined in studio by Councillor Lutrot and Sedem Ofori, and they're going to be helping us solve this issue for the gentleman. So guys, you heard the story. Wealthy man married for 5 years with 3 children, saw some text messages on his wife's phone that's making him think that the children may not be his, and so he wants to go ahead with a DNA test. Your views, Councillor?
Thank you very much. The man is a sick man.
Why is he?
You see, there are some things that you don't joke with. Very inquisitive. And if you have a husband like this, you need to drop him earlier before he kills you. What do you go to do on your wife's phone? This woman too, why? She doesn't know how to put password on her phone or something. How? You see, if you want to live a good life and die early, you need to know how to keep secrets. That's one. How do you go to your wife's phone to go and see what you want to see? Now, after you've seen it, you are asking us that you want to go and do a DNA. For what?
To prove the
what?
paternity of the children, whether they're
what?
his or not.
No, what do you want to prove?
That's what I've just told you.
You went to your wife's phone to look for what you want to see, and you've seen it. Why are you going to waste money for DNA?
Okay. So
that's what you want to see.
So you are saying, see what he saw on the phone is proof enough.
But if you impregnate your wife, you don't know.
But maybe that's where the concern is, because to the best of his knowledge, he has sexual relationship with his wife, and it's resulted in 3 children.
Let me tell you one of the things. In this work I do, at times I feel so sad. DNA was not created for families to look for paternity for your children. That was not the reason why.
Why was it created?
Because the fact that we've had this diabolic acid for the test was meant not for this family thing we are using it for.
Okay.
From 1986, it was because of judgment. We wanted to use this so that we can be able to give people fair judgment, and so your DNA plus your thumbprint will help you. So in the first time they used it was in the UK. Then the second time was in the United States of America. 86 and 87. Then now human beings believe that it could help us, so we are using it. But we are not even using it correctly, because we're in this country. When Odate Lamte used it, till today he has not been able to finalize the case. The divorce has happened, but the children are still writing the name of Odate Lamte, which is a bad thing. So if you venture to take the initiative of going for a DNA, which was not meant for married people, it was meant for public use, accident, you want to identify people and this thing, but now you've decided to use it. Young man, you are sitting down there, you have impregnated your wife, and you are saying that you want to go and check. At times I feel sad, because there are some women today who are also sitting in marriages that their children have come to tell them that their father is going to do a DNA for them. There are women today who are quietly sitting down with their husbands. Genuinely, they know the children are for their husbands, and the husbands took their children to go and do a DNA. One of the painful things on earth is to go and check. And when you check, you know that it's yours. It's more painful than checking and knowing it's not yours. Because are you doubting the place you go? You see the painful thing? Yeah. So there are women today too that I have met in my office that I'm working on them, that their husbands have gone behind, and they feel like Why would you do this to me? You understand? Why? Why would you take the child and the child comes over and say, "Mommy, they comb my hair, and when they finish, they didn't give me the comb." And the woman took the. These are some of the stories. Men don't think people are doing it, but at least there was somebody to who, because of this travel thing, we have a so-called Ecope greener pasture, maybe I green, and unfortunately, he wrote the names of all the children assist. When they asked that they do DNA, he boldly went, took the sample, and took it to South Africa. At the end,
they were
treat him after that way. So. Women too who are watching me, in case as you watch TV3 this morning, you know, only women can tell the matter of their children. If you are watching TV3 this morning, please be righteous enough in this of Women Month. If you know, especially the firstborn, if you know they are not for your husband, I'm here to assist. We can tell him to go, because when a man knows he's firing but nothing is coming, you answer them.
So now let me ask them that question as well. Sedem, so you got the situation. What would you tell the man to do?
Well, I'm all for disclosure. Because the distress that comes with doubts, especially that you've seen certain things on the phone of your spouse, which creates doubts in your mind, it's debilitating. You are better off just knowing the truth. And this thing about DNA, paternity DNA tests, it doesn't just play to the advantage of the man. There are men who want to shirk responsibilities towards their children, and they claim this child is not mine. Through DNA, the women get justice. So it's not just a question of the man being the one who is perpetuating some evil or is creating distrust in his wife by going for a DNA test.
Starting a new topic. No.
Oh,
it has never been
the
used
other
by
thing
any
is
woman.
Counselor, you realize Sedem was very quiet
No,
when
but
you
he
were
has to be
talking.
quiet when I'm talking. I'm a counselor.
And he's what? He's here on the show. You equally have both.
he
You both
is-
have the
okay.
same
No,
right. I am the host, and I'm
I know you are
asking
the
you
host,
to
but for
kindly
him, you didn't
keep
give him a title.
silent.
He's
No,
what?
well, he has to speak.
No,
He
as
is
a
with
counselor,
me.
he's
He's
what?
actually he has set up before. He doesn't need a title to work. So
So-
Sedem, please go.
So
I know when I come before
DNA
I can
testing,
tell me, don't worry.
to paternity DNA testing,
Jay,
it doesn't
I'm
just play to the advantage.
I say place only to the
of
man.
the man. There was a time when if a child was born to a new couple,
Right.
people would look at the ears, etc., and say that, look, this child is not mine. There are men who know it's their child. But in order to shirk responsibilities towards that child, they will claim it doesn't belong to them. Through DNA, women get justice and the child also gets justice. You see, the thing about paternity is that there are legal obligations seized on the man towards the child. You can't say, this is not my child, or this is my child and I won't perform certain duties, because merely by being the parent of that child, the law imposes some responsibilities on you. It goes way down. Sometimes even a grandparent may want to bequeath some property to a grandchild. In a will, he's made a disposition that this house, that etc. should go to this individual, believing that it is a direct descendant. Is that the case? It is only through things like DNA, and this question about it wasn't meant for that purpose. I don't think the person who invented mobile phone anticipated WhatsApp or Twitter or Instagram, but they become a reality, the everyday quotidian experience of using this technology. So it is the end point that matters. So when we speak of DNA, it is basically a question of truth. This individual who has doubts that have been inspired by what is found on his partner's phone, his wife's phone. You go and take the phone, you find something on it. For all you know, you just use the phone to make a call.
Whose phone?
For all you know, yes.
Whose phone?
If my wife needed to make a phone call, for some reason maybe he hasn't got credit on the phone.
It means they are irresponsible not to buy your wife
and needs to use my phone. They can use it. There are times when calls come at certain times. I tell her, you can pick the call up and tell the individual I'm in the bathroom, etc. Because I'm expecting a call from someone, and I don't want to leave the person in doubt that when you called, I wasn't ready or I didn't want to speak.
So you make it a secretary for that.
So we have to look at it holistically. It's one of the technologies which has emerged to solve problems in crime, with ascertaining whether certain people are your children. You mentioned a very renowned, I was hoping it doesn't come up here, but there's a very famous sportsman who whose marriage right now I hear has ended, has been dissolved by the court because he has strong doubts that the children that he's purportedly fathered with his with his wife. It turns out not just one, not two, three. In fact, it's not the only instance. There are so many reports where individuals have gone to certain embassies or foreign missions in the hope of getting
He wants to say
license,
this one is okay.
in the hope of getting either some nationality conferred on their child, or to have the child come into the country, visa issues to come and stay with them, only to find out
Saddam,
that the
before you
child does not belong to them.
Very well. Before you continue, we've got Governor joining us on the phone from Tema. So let's listen to Governor and then we'll come back to Saddam. Good morning, Governor. Hello, good morning. Governor from Tema. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now,
can we hear your contribution this morning? What's your take on this discussion?
for the first time, I was sidelined with Councillor Lutrod.
Okay.
The best thing ever done is I would just stay in my one corner, keep on my phone, stay on with her phone, and that is it.
Okay.
Go on and to check whether she has any other stuff doing. It's at your own risk. You can go there and virtually collapse. You not even wake up. I'm seeing everything on the phone. I would rather prefer to sit in my one corner with my phone to keep hers. That is all.
Very well. Thank you very much, Governor, this morning. Have a good day. So that's Governor's take. He tends to side with Councillor. But you know, you also mentioned something about disclosure. So supposing this man actually, after finding whatever was on the phone of the wife, discussed with her the extent of what he had found before going for the paternity test, do you think it would have made any difference?
You see, the first thing, I said something earlier that the reason for your paternity test must be known to you.
Okay.
And I'm telling you on record that based on the job I do, there are men who have gone and they found the answers. Now they are loving their wives like fools.
Okay.
You understand? So like he said, he's playing to the advantage of the women. Some women is playing to the advantage of them, but they don't even know. And there are some too who the children have brought the news to them that daddy took me here. So they are surprised the way the man is actually, you know, behaving.
Okay.
So usually when you think DNA is coming to settle your family issues,
It brings in more issues.
it brings more issues. So if you say you found something on the phone, you want to go for DNA, don't confront that particular said woman. Why are you confronting her? You go behind the scene. Like all that we are hearing about Osama Jan and his brother now being the one doing the request. You just be quiet. Go behind the scene so that when you get it now, you have your trump card to argue with it. But it's not when you put a woman through that level, especially when the woman knows this thing was chopped by somebody else. I mean, it is normal. I keep telling you that. If somebody impregnates your wife on your behalf, it's normal. It is not. It is actually not a strange news.
Joining us is Leonard from Nungwa. Good morning, Leonard. Can you hear me? Hello. Good morning, Leonard. You're on New Day.
Please, I'm here.
Yes. Your contribution this morning?
Yeah, please. You see, nowadays, some ladies have been so wicked to the extent that if someone is wearing a ring, you can even call her and propose to her. She's ever ready to give in. So you might please talk to the ladies that they should stop doing those things because it worries a lot. Seeing someone wearing a ring, then going into someone's room, it worries. So please talk to the ladies we have now for us.
Very well. I'm sure the ladies out there have heard you. Leonard, thank you for calling in this morning. But we'll kindly ask viewers, when you call in, please lower the set of your TV so that we can hear you very well. So let me come back to you,
What I'm saying is that, so you asking is not the best.
Right.
Because if you have the answer already, take your decision and act on your decision.
Right.
But going to confront the person, in the first place, where you had the information from was wrong.
Okay.
Going into your wife's phone or your husband's phone is wrong. So your lead is not correct. There are some messages that when I give my phone now you read, you think that I have finished sexually with somebody. But the way the message came, if you don't read with my mind, you have orgasm. So it's not every message that's actually, sorry, I'm a virgin. Satan will have orgasm. So it's not every message. You are not a virgin. Sorry, I'm sorry. Viewers, forgive me. Well,
my virginity is not what we're discussing.
No,
here, so
I made
back
a statement. I remember I have to apologize because we are on TV. Christ knows you very well. So what I'm saying is, you read some messages and you realize that you are leading yourself to a place where you are not ready to go.
As
so
a married person, why should you have those kind of messages in the first place? But that's another discussion.
You say what?
Said let me take your view.
You know
on
how those messages have helped people to go to heaven?
You can sit in your small corner and pretend everything is fair, only for you to end up one day and realize that all that you've worked for is going to be bequeathed to deception.
Right.
Full disclosure is an important part of any relationship.
That one I don't mind.
Disclosure?
No, I don't.
And this individual who's complaining about finding things on his wife's phone, did he say he went there prying, looking for stuff?
Right. But what did you go to do there?
There are relationships which are so sincere that the couples don't mind sharing phones. There are relationships like that. In
Sharing
fact,
what?
There are relationships where couples even share email addresses, email passwords. In the event that something happens to me and I die,
Because they are not mature.
There are. Well, you the mature.
They are
one,
not mature.
Keep your secrets.
They are not mature. Because
there
if
are
you're a man,
those-
you don't have secrets. You have
let
a
me
brain
tell you,
damage.
when you bring a
A
child,
husband
into
who
the
have no
world,
secrets in marriage,
there
you have
are
a brain
legal
damage.
obligations on you to that child. It's far reaching. Who knows? Maybe even the baby was swapped at birth. There are people who have children thought it was theirs, only to go and find out that this child isn't theirs, not as a result of cheating, but
So
it
what
actually
do you
could
do?
be. Oh,
It was swapped at
actually
birth.
could
What
be.
do I do? How about you hold me responsible? So you can't hold me
So
responsible.
chances are that who are you holding responsible?
But
Chances
it's
are
not going to
that
affect the woman.
it is through. It is
What
through
I'm saying is that the
the
women are going through a lot of
confirmation-
pain because of this DNA thing you have brought into the system.
Yes.
It's the women who are
so
going
the
through a
DNA
lot
would
of
allow
pain.
you. You want to just you think that it is your choice to decide that I don't want to know. It's your choice.
And it's
Well-
better
but it's
not to know.
someone else's
But you
choice.
see-
not
Guys,
to
let me
say,
pick
Nana,
this call.
I want to know, and they must have that right.
Very well. Someone is on the line from Tema. This morning, Tema, people are really calling. Good morning, Samuel. Oh, did the line just drop? Okay, so we'll
it's
get
like
back
he
to
said the
that.
swapping. That's what the swapping. They can swap, but I don't know how swapping can be done. So if swapping right now, and then you are saying the children are not yours. But what I'm saying is that there are women who deliberately they know, and some of them were doing it to help their husbands.
No, but
Who
Sedem
were
is saying in
impotent.
this particular story that we are discussing, he doesn't say how he chanced upon the messages.
In fact,
And
at this
again, you
point,
wouldn't
it's merely
even know.
It's
Exactly.
suspicion that he's working
So
with.
why is he working with
He
us?
just because he needs to know the truth.
What
and
truth?
when there is disclosure, there's a saying that the truth shall set you free. This
not all
individual
truth.
is obviously distressed by what is found.
Well, we've
And
got
he
some
just
more back
wants
on
to
the
know
line.
truth.
We've got some more back on the line. Good morning, Pete. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah.
Good morning, Peter.
How are you doing?
We're doing great. Yourself?
Yeah. I'm also fine.
Great.
As a man, why do you go in for your wife's phone? What do you want on it? And what do you want to look in your phone?
Well,
In
Sedem
your
said
wife's
maybe
phone.
you're making
Mhm.
a call.
Hello.
Sedem thinks maybe he was making a call. He only happened to.
No. For me, like this, I can't go in for my wife's phone. My phone is with me. Yours is with you.
Very
You don't
well.
receive my calls. I also don't receive your calls.
Very
So
well.
whatever, if you in tree they say if this is what they say in tree. You see, so the more in you go in for your wife's phone, these are what the things you see. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you
that-
to Peter. Thank you.
And let me tell you,
Will you
couples,
make money food?
they have autonomy to make
No, no,
rules for
come.
themselves.
Right. Sure.
Some couple decide that, look, we are even going to have every breakfast together. It's their choice. Others may decide not to do so.
No.
In
There are some things that
you,
when they are
you,
wrong,
have
they are
you
wrong.
make rules for your own relationships. Now, for the individual who shares phone with his partner, why do you accuse them?
So why do you have PI?
That
Personal
by doing
identification
so, it is bad.
It's
Look,
bad.
Let me tell you,
It's bad.
We are moving away from a culture where people are overly secretive. There are men who don't disclose how much they earn to their wives. There are women who own property. We've been on this platform to talk about someone even investing wealth, which both couples have created on some investment and it went bad.
And there was a man investing.
We know today that those things of the past don't help. Look, there are people who die, and it's difficult even to trace what properties belong
Which is
to them
okay.
because
So you
they
DNA
thought they were
to
being
go and trace
secretive.
property.
Today, the
Use
DNA
DNA
can
to
help
go
you
and
know whether
look
even
for
that child
property.
doesn't belong to you. For all you know, there is another couple who
see,
have that child and are looking for
No,
theirs
just hold
who
it
is with
for
you.
a second. Let's take the last caller, KK from Amasaman. Good morning, KK.
Good morning.
Your contribution to this discussion this morning.
Please. Please.
Hello. Okay, so unfortunately we missed KK there.
DNA just affected the network. You see, let me tell you, this DNA thing is becoming. We are joking with it, and we are not taking the psychological effect of it. I was saying that Atelamte didn't finish the case because, in the first place, it's painful for you to get Sedemofori, an Akan man, impregnating my wife and naming the child as Papu. The soul of the child is destroyed for the rest of his life.
Oh, come
Because,
on, what a joke.
No, it's not a joke.
You are here, you are called Lutrot. Do you know where that name comes from?
No,
I
no,
don't
you see,
even know
no,
what it
you
means.
see,
You know what it means?
he's confused.
Has it made you
he's confused.
distressed or has it
If I
destroyed your
tell you,
life? You're
if
called
I
Lutrot.
tell
What
you
is
where
your
my
name?
name is coming from
Oh,
and
my
the
God, my
tradition
God,
that
my
I
God.
belong to,
How about tradition?
and what so,
The Kpakpo also has tradition
no,
behind it.
so I'm telling you
Kpakpo
that
has
if
tradition
Sedem
behind it.
impregnates my wife, and
God forbid.
there's a party. It's not God forbid. If you do it, it's a fortunate
It won't
situation.
happen.
No, it's because you don't have the opportunity. But if she gives you the right,
Kpakpo.
please perform. But listen, what I'm saying
Hey,
here very carefully.
Lutrot.
You see what I'm saying is that
It's normal.
If it's normal. Oh, I mean, if somebody's living with their wife, it's normal. But listen very carefully. You see
No,
what
no,
I'm saying is
no.
that. You see what he's doing? You tell it to keep quiet.
Because you've been on this case today, so now
you see, what I'm saying is that
feels.
the fear of it is that there are a lot of people. I have a case where 42 years old man, we just have to redo the renaming because he has affected everybody. Maybe Ofino, he's a pure Ewe, but he has become an Ashanti by name. So women, I'm begging you, this one there, I'm putting my hand in my hand. If you know the children you are having don't belong to your husband, don't force and do anything.
She doesn't know. She wants to. She doesn't know.
So okay, now women, you too. You, if a woman says that's you who pregnated me, that one I won't believe.
The man says the child.
That one I won't believe. No, that one I won't believe. But I'm saying that once you know this child is not for Sedem, don't wait for Sedem to come. Make sure you let them know so that we do the right thing for them because names are very important. But if you are confused, don't call Sedem because this guy. 0277.
This man is called George
60.
Where does it come from in Ghana? First, George is not from here.
60
is not from here. And
96
are important.
44. I will not be called Sedem Ofori for anything. 0277 60 96 44. Please let us know who is the father of your firstborn. And all firstborns, if you are a bold man like me and you have chest, don't go and test because otherwise,
Sedem, let me give you a second to also wrap up.
You dial that number at your own, your own detriment.
Even he is laughing.
But look, technology has come to help all of us, and I'll tell you this: the distress that comes with doubt can mess you up for a very long time. If this man wants to have peace in his family, just go and do the DNA test.
He can also finish and not have peace.
Like Odate Lamte, he did it and found out that maybe even in spite of the suspicion that the children are his, they've developed such a bond that the children say, we don't know any other person as a father but you, and he also thinks that you don't know anyone else as a child but them. So the relationship can go on, but it is the spirit of, in the spirit of fairness. I want disclosure. I want to know whether this child is biologically mine. For somebody else, there may be doubt about the parentage.
So the fathers of the
I
children
don't want to take off this child
Guys, that was supposed to be a wrap-up, you know.
I don't
trust.
But
he started a new topic.
You begin to allege that your partner was promiscuous, etc. DNA will bring the truth. So go and do it.
Very well, guys. That's what we've been discussing today, whether the DNA test should be done for that couple that have been married for 5 years and have 3 children. But we have more here. Johnny will be joining Chobi to talk about the music she does, and let's take one from her at this point.
The prophet can even help.
I go come again for the culture. Make it a routine for the culture. Tonight we not go stop unless rapture. One more made and I know back go see I know pa. All weekend that's a fun. I think I'm a thing on there. One more made and I know back go see I know pa. All weekend that's a fun. Anything you want, I go do, baby, I go do. Anytime, baby, call on me, baby, call on me. Anything you want, I go do. Anytime, baby, call on me.
Like what? I'm just curious.
Anything.
Anything like what? I'm just curious. I want to know.
Anytime, baby, call on me.
That's Chobi there, right there. She's a brand new sensation on the music scene. How long have you been doing this?
4 years.
Speaking to the microphone. 4 years?
4 years, yes.
And has it been good for you so far?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been a pretty tough but amazing journey.
You seem to have a unique style of your own. The hair is dyed what, green with a bit of gold, with a bit of
blue in there.
Saga. But what's your name? What's your actual name? So why did you choose Chobi?
My mom chose it.
Okay. If you look like a doll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when I was young, she used to call me Kingsway Chobi. You know, and when I'm doing something about Shuji, she would just say, stop, come heavy Chobi. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so,
so you picked it on.
Yeah, just picked it
on. But what are your aspirations for this music industry?
I'm looking at having my own tours around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of countries.
I see. Interesting. Let's hear something more from you as we wrap up the show. My name is Johnny Hughes. Thank you on behalf of the rest of the team. On 3FM 92.7 right about now. What are you singing for us?
I'm gonna do Holy Water right
Holy
now.
Water.
Yes.
Okay. Let it fall.
Ooh,
let it fall.
Give me water.
All right. Let's go.
All right. Come give me water. No one to so hear me there. Baby, holy water.